The Imitation of Christ, Chapter 8, on guarding against familiarity. Do not open your heart to everyone, Ecclesiasticus chapter 8, verse 19, but ask counsel of one who is wise and fears God. Be seldom with young people and strangers. Do not flatter the wealthy and avoid the society of the great. Associate rather with the humble and simple, the devout and the virtuous, and converse with them on such things as edify. Avoid undue familiarity with the other sex, but commend all good women to God. Desire to be familiar only with God and his angels, and do not seek the acquaintance of men. We must live in charity with all men, but familiarity with them is not desirable. It sometimes happens that someone personally unknown to us enjoys a high reputation, but that when we meet him, we are not impressed. Similarly, we sometimes imagine that our company is pleasing when in reality we offend others by our ill behavior. Chapter 9, on obedience and discipline. It is an excellent thing to live under obedience to a superior and not to be one's own master. It is much safer to obey than to rule. Many live under obedience more of necessity than of love, and such people are often discontented and complaining. They will never attain freedom of mind unless they submit with their whole heart for the love of God. Go where you please, but nowhere will you find rest except in humble obedience under the rule of a superior. Preference for other places and desire for change have unsettled many. Everyone gladly does whatever he most likes and likes best those who think as he does, but if God is to dwell among us, we must sometimes yield our own opinion for the sake of peace. Who is so wise that he knows all things? So do not place too much reliance on the rightness of your own views, but be ready to consider the view of others. If your opinion is sound, and you forego it for the love of God and follow that of another, you will win great merit. I have often heard that it is safer to accept advice than to give it. It may even come about that each of two opinions is good, but to refuse to come to an agreement with others when reason or occasion demand it is a sign of pride and obstinacy. Chapter 10. On avoiding talkativeness. Avoid public gathering as much as possible, for the discussion of worldly affairs becomes a great hindrance, even though it be with the best of intentions. For we are quickly corrupted and ensnared by vanity. Often I wish I had remained silent and had not been among men. But why is it that we are so ready to chatter and gossip with each other when we so seldom return to silence without some injury to our conscience? The reason why we are so fond of talking with each other is that we think to find consolation in this manner and to refresh a heart wearied with many cares. And we prefer to speak and think of those things which we like and desire, or of those which we dislike. Alas, however, all this is often to no purpose, for this outward consolation is no small obstacle to inner and divine consolation. We must watch and pray. Matthew 26, verse 41. that our time may not be spent fruitlessly. When it is right and proper to speak, speak to edify. Ephesians chapter 4, verse 29. Evil habits and neglect of spiritual progress are the main cause of our failure to guard the tongue. James chapter 3, verse 5. But devout conversation on spiritual matters greatly furthers our spiritual progress, especially with those who are heart and soul with us in the service of God. Acts chapter 2, verse 42.